The man with the badge is back. Only this time, Detective Ward Lovecraft finds himself as a wanted man. Come with us as we head into the Dreamlands with the next adventures of Lovecraft P.I. in a new graphic novel. Cover by Paul Shipper.
Now available on Kickstarter.
Well, well, well. Look who finally crawled out of that primordial ooze and demanded I cover this one. You sick, beautiful freaks have been whispering this hallucinogenic nightmare in my ear for years. Most recently, Yonka Ari Ben, 1071, like a centipede wearing a trench coat, begging, "Jack, please, give us that bug powder."
Hey, where you going? Don't do it, I'll be held to pay.
So here we are, cultists. Strap in. Light your cigarette off that burning corpse of reality itself, because tonight, I'm talking about Naked Lunch from 1991. I hadn't touched this film since it slithered into the theaters back in 91. Thought I got it as a smug whippersnapper. Wrong. Dead wrong.
It's a Kafka high. You feel like a bug.
I recently dove back in twice, and sweet Narlotep, this thing only gets richer, weirder, and more perfect with age.
Can't say no more.
Second viewing, I threw on the commentary track with Cronenberg and Peter Weller, our boy who plays Bill Lee, who's William S. Burroughs' avatar in this fever dream.
Oh my God.
William S. Burroughs himself visited the set, watched Peter Weller having a full-on conversation with a giant talking asshole bug typewriter, and the only note the old shaman gave Cronenberg was, quote, "They're cute." And no, this isn't some lazy page-to-screen snooze fest of the unfilmable 1959 novel. Even Weller states himself the only way to directly adapt Naked Lunch would be full-on animation.
I can think of at least 2 things wrong with that title.
Instead, Cronenberg did the same thing. He reached into Burroughs' entire junk sick canon, Naked Lunch, Junkie, Queer, Exterminator, and stitched together a Frankenstein monster that somehow feels more Burroughs than Burroughs.
But I really don't think that there's all that much continuity in human experience. And looking back on, say, what I was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, I think, who was that? And why was he doing that? And I don't have the answer.
At its rotten core, this is about what happens when you blow your wife's brains out in Mexico City and spend the rest of your life trying to right your way out of that guilt. Just the excuse Burroughs gave the Mexican cops.
I guess it's about time for our William Tell routine.
Cronenberg drags that lie into the sunlight and lets it writhe.
They're saying that you escaped from custody and murdered your wife.
Peter Weller, looking like a haunted praying mantis, begged for this role. Said it came at the exact moment his own life was falling apart. Roy Scheider called Cronenberg out of the blue. "I'll play anybody."
Fenway!
And Scheider chews the scenery like it's made of black centipede meat.
It's like an agent who's come to believe his own cover story.
Judy Davis pulls double duty as both Joan Lee, the wife Bill introduces to bug powder,
Could you rub some of this powder on my lips?
and Joan Frost of Inner Zone. Same woman, different dimension, same doom vibe.
Mrs. Frost.
She's incredible, aristocratic, dead-eyed, somehow sexy even when exhaling toxic yellow dust that kills roaches on contact. Bill pawns the gun he used to kill his wife,
Has been fired very recently.
buys a typewriter, and suddenly he's in Inner Zone. Cronenberg's Tangier by way of Lovecraft's Dreamlands. Writing pornographic reports for giant bugs with talking anuses that secrete addictive mugwump jism.
Mugwump jism can't be beat.
Ian Holm lends him a typewriter that turns into a horny beetle.
You were giving her access to your innermost vulnerabilities.
Julian Sand shows up as a centipede fetish smarmy creep, Eve's Cloquette,
But it was a very intense performance in any case.
who wants to butter you up in a full-size birdcage. Howard Shore's score, mixed with Ornette Coleman's free jazz saxophone, screams over Saul Bass-inspired credits that drip like melting film stock. Peter Jasinski shoots everything in sickly greens and ambers like we're trapped inside a jar of spoiled mayonnaise. I give this a 10 out of 10 tentacles as a cosmic masterpiece.
Well, none of us were writers at that time. Jack was the most devoted writer. He'd written a great deal, and he kept telling me that I was going to write a book, and the book's going to be called Naked Lunch. It was his title.
A perfect translation of an untranslatable mind.
It's good to be wild sometimes.
a dash of Kafka on heroin, Lynch on bug powder, and Cronenberg at the absolute peak of his body horror powers. If you don't own this yet, get the Criterion. So, keep your powder dry and your typewriters talking, my beautiful degenerates. And remember, only in Interzone, the reports are always due. Until next time.
You're gonna have trouble if you can't keep track of your roach powder.
Thank you to our YouTube members and everyone out there for your continued support. And hail Cthulhu!